Hello, welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. Today is an important day for Bharatiyas. It's Kargil Vijay Divas. A day some 25 years ago, young men and women on the peaks around Kargil, sacrificed everything that they had for the nation. As I always say, as long as there are youth ready to die for the nation, our armed forces will have people. And as long as people continue to shower us with love and affection, armed forces will keep writing that blank check which basically carries their life. So keep doing that for us and we'll keep doing it. On this occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas, we are relaunching our special show called Soldierpreneurs. It is a show for soldiers who have taken up entrepreneurship as their second innings after they put up their uniforms. On this show, I have a special guest who's from the Army, Colonel Abraham Cherian, who's the founder of 360-degree Wealth Advisory. Now, I must say, as an armed forces person, as a veteran myself, many of the armed forces people need this advice. They need this hand-holding because we don't have time or we don't understand what's happening in the real world to keep a track of, let alone understand where to put our money. So a service like 360-degree Wealth Advisor would come handy. So welcome, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Colonel Cherian, before we start, your thoughts on, on this day, Kargil Vijay Divas, and recently, because this becomes even more important with recently concluded operation, or rather ongoing Operation Sindoor, the one which is paused. What are your thoughts?
Pretty straightforward, actually. It's good that we remember these kind of days, of victory. It's very important for the people in our country to understand the kind of work that our armed forces have done to secure our country and also to get us where we are. And it is not just about sacrifices, right? Sacrifices, of course, is a very big thing, but it's also the fact that while people are sleeping, working, making money or whatever, there is a large component of society that is out there on the borders guarding us, and they are doing a very good job. Right? So therefore, these kind of days, I think it is good that people like you are celebrating them and bringing them to the people, so that even if they forget, it's now almost 25 years, that people should not forget.
Very true, sir. Very true. In fact, you brought up a very valid point. We may remember our soldiers when when there is a threat to national security, but then on day-to-day basis, there are a lot of sacrifice that happens, keeping away from the family. And not meeting our children, not being part of their special occasion, whether it is their birthdays, our own anniversaries, or being part of the parent-teacher meet, which are day-to-day requirement, which most soldiers, most men and women miss out on. So, sir, with that, if you could give us a brief about your service background as to how many years did you serve, where were you, and if you can help with that.
Happy to do that. So I'm a alumnus of National Defence Academy, and I passed out of NDA in 1993, and then IMA in 1994. I was commissioned into 52 Field Regiment Sanjoy Mirpur. And Sanjoy Mirpur is, by the way, the honor title of the regiment from 1965 war. And I have, as part of service with the regiment, I've served at Siachen Glacier in 1996-97 as an OP officer. I was wounded there. And thereafter, I have done the usual courses in the Army, like long gunnery staff course for artillery officers, thereafter staff college, and then the junior command, senior command, and all of that. But in terms of where I've been posted, the interesting ones, of course, are that I've spent about 9.5 years of my service all along the line of control in J&K. I've served in all divisions except for one. And I commanded my regiment in counterinsurgency operations in the Baramulla sector. I've also been the GSO1 or the BM of an armored brigade and the Colonel GS of an infantry brigade, infantry division. I've served in the United Nations mission in Congo, And of course, I've also served in Army headquarters in the MS branch. Those who are not familiar, this is a branch that looks after officers, postings, promotions. And I specifically served in a section which was handling the promotions to colonels and above, and also looking at policies, promotion policies and long-term uh, this kind of restructuring of the organization, etc. And I commanded my regiment from 2010 to 2013, 3 years, most of it in Baramulla. And then for 1 year, last 1 year, I was on a staff appointment as Colonel GS of an infantry division. Thereafter, I moved on from the army. I had completed 20 years. So it was a planned transition. And I moved on from there.
Pretty much all the areas one could do, and the medals that you have displayed at the background also are testimony to that. So you know it's not easy to transit from a life in the armed forces to civilian lifestyle, because there's so many changes, some challenges come up, your whole life changes upside down. I experienced that way back in 2000 when I had to move do the transition, and within that, if you're thinking of starting your own venture, that's a different ball game altogether, different challenge altogether. So what was the first, what was the reason you decided to get into start your own venture? Was it the first one you started off with? And if you could talk about that as to why you decided to take on to entrepreneurship vis-a-vis going for a full-time job.
Actually, it was a very delayed step for me, because when I left the army in 2014, entrepreneurship was not on my mind at all, to be honest. And so I went to the US. I did my MBA at the Fletcher School in Boston, Tufts University, worked in a startup there in healthcare analytics. Then I came back to India, and I was working with this company in financial services called Muthoot FinCorp Limited. That's in gold loans. I used to be the head of their gold loan products, managing about 12,000 crores odd of portfolio. And then I moved on to HSBC. I was managing a global analytics team in corporate services and procurement. And then after that, I moved to another company. Last year, in fact, 2023, Gen AI became a very big, event. And that is the time that I joined a technology company in Hyderabad as head of technical sales. Right. So in terms of my journey, I've done a lot of operations in the army, managing organizations and leading people, etc. Then I've done financial services, understood how finances work, the financial world works. I also looked at data and analytics. I learned that. Then sales was something I'd never done. I was always afraid, but I don't know if I'll be able to sell things to people. So I got into this technical sales job, which as you know, is the role that connects the technology side of the business with the sales teams and the clients. So it involved, talking to a lot of clients in the US, Europe, Middle East, Singapore, etc., along with the sales teams. It was very challenging. It was the first time, I was 50 years old or 52 years old, and I was doing sales for the first time. So I did that. And then I realized that, it is time to try something of my own. And having been in financial services, what better than to do something where there is a gap, not just for armed forces officers, but even in the corporate world or the private sector, people do not have access to good advice. They have access to financial products, right? So they have loans and they have bank, accounts, and they have credit cards and all kinds of things which people are constantly selling to them, insurance policies. But they do not have advice, somebody to tell them, look, should you take this credit card or not? Should you take this loan or do something else? Is this insurance policy good for you? Where should you invest? And therefore, I said, let me do that. And so I became a SEBI registered financial advisor and started my own firm. It's a proprietorship at the moment, but I hope to grow.
And what are the challenges? Firstly, it is like having worked, once stepping out of the armed forces, taking up jobs, and then graduating on to being an entrepreneur. Do you think that was that really helped you? Because it must have helped you with the connections you made, learnings, transition. Would you advise that for all those who are right now waiting to step out, would you suggest them the same journey?
Everybody has, his or her own journey, right? So some people, so for example, when I was leaving the army, people said, that some people said, "Arey, I already have a job lined up. The day I come out, the next day I'm joining this." I didn't have it. It took me 4 months to get my first job. So I had a very different journey. Now there are people who come out and straight away start their own entrepreneurship journey, while I took 10 years. But I don't say that, look, wait for 10 years and then do it. But definitely what happens is that if you work in one or two organizations, you understand what the market is like, what running a business is, the basics of it. That there is, how do you manage revenue, how do you manage costs? Costs are very important. One of the questions that I get from my course-mates who are still serving is, Ajay, you started your company, so you must be having 5, 10 employees. I don't know, each employee costs a lot of money, so I will only hire when I'm 100% certain that they will add value to the business, right? But it takes time to understand these things. And why not spend a couple of years in a company as an employee, but in the right kind of roles, right? To understand it, and then start your own, because then you know what's happening in the environment. That helps. The second thing is, there are many people who don't need this. They can straight away, intuitively, they can go and start doing it. I probably was not that kind of a person. So I said, it took me a lot of time and a lot of courage. The other important thing is selling, because whatever business you may have, it is about selling. Because if you don't sell, you don't generate revenue. If you don't have revenue, why do you have a business? Therefore, it's important to understand that selling is the most important part of running any business, whether it is a service, it is a product. You know, you're always selling some. Like I'm selling my services, right? So, and in the armed forces, somehow, it is the experience that I had was networking, connecting with people. It is not so important. You just do your work, right? Put your head down and do your work sincerely, and you're done. But in the business world, you should be able to connect. The more people you know, the more opportunities there are, right? And the more people you can sell to. So therefore, it's important to understand these things and then jump in, of course. And it is not easy. The whole process is not easy. I have heard this in many places. अपने देश में मारवाड़ी लोग कहते हैं ना कि नया धंधा शुरू किया अगर 1000 दिन चल गया तो चल जाएगा.
चल जाएगा, बिल्कुल सही है.
So 1000 days you should not give up, and you have to keep going. There will be bad days when you will feel that, nobody wants to talk to me, nobody wants what I'm selling. And there will be good days when there is chappad फाड़ के आता है, and then you don't know कि इसको handle कैसे करूंगा. So all kinds of things, and it's very exciting.
No, no, very true. What you said is true. That's the other part of entrepreneurship. That is, as they say, it's a lonely journey, because as a founder, it is you, especially when you're at the very early stage, and then you have to have that strength, mental strength, to go through those cycles of ups and downs. Some good days, some bad days, rather more bad days and less good days. But then that's what you go through. Now coming to 360-degree wealth advisory. Firstly, why did you think, one you said, they don't, a lot of people selling it to them, to the armed forces, or people who are still in the service. Basically, typically we see all these LIC policies being sold to us, mutual funds being sold to us, but then the advisory itself is missing. So what was the idea when you started off? Was it to give it online or meet them and do it? How did you, because they're not in one place, right? And most of the time they're either in separated family accommodations, they're posted and they're moving, because that's the other challenge, right? Every 2 years you're moving from place A to place B. How would you keep a track of that? So what, if you can just paint that picture as to what were the thoughts when you decided to do this?
Only about 10 months. I'm very, 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 very new to this entrepreneurship. So I cannot claim to be an expert. It's just, I'm just taking it the way it comes. But when I started off, yes, my primary focus was on armed forces officers to begin with, and then later on to, go down to men and all of that. But the idea was absolutely that, look, they are all over the country, and therefore it is not easy to connect with them. And which also means that it is not easy for them to connect with a good advisor, right? they see what happens in most cantonments. There is one CA guy or somebody who roams around and says, "Ki, sir, you buy this," and then one CO likes it, and the whole unit will do it. Then some station commander likes it, the whole station will do the same thing and take it from him. So those kind of things happen. So, sir, how do you break that and connect with people? So today, fortunately, there are lots of channels, like there is WhatsApp, there is people are on LinkedIn, and then there is word of mouth, which takes longer time to come across. That is one part. The second was, I was always clear that my business is not targeting the armed forces alone. It is also for corporate and private sector. The reason is I've spent 10 years, and this is where the advantage of having worked in the private sector for 10 years comes in. I have connections. I understand how the corporate sector works. How a corporate sector employee is looking at his or her personal life and their own personal finances. The other thing is, see, the way a private sector employee looks at their personal finance is very different from the way an armed forces officer does it. And there are learnings from both sides, which can be, cross-pollinated. So good learnings from the corporate sector can be brought into the armed forces officers to implement, and the learnings from this side can be taken there and doing that. These are opportunities to improve the ability to manage your financial, plan. Yeah. So how I'm looking at it is that, uh, you see, my focus is currently, as far as armed forces officers go, there are almost 1,300 officers who retire every year, right? And typically, between 1.5 to 2.5 crores is the corpus that they come out with, their retirement benefits and their savings and all that. And what happens is that the moment the banks see that money has come into the account, they will start bombarding them with, yeah, take this insurance policy, take this, invest here, invest that. And I'm trying to help them not get caught up in that and say, look, work with somebody who is not interested in selling you stuff, right? Who's interested in giving you the right advice, which might also include saying, no, don't buy this, right? A distributor or an agent will never say, don't buy this, because usko commission nahi milega fir.
Correct.
But as a SEBI registered advisor, it is my job to tell people that if something is not suited for them, then they should not buy it. It's okay, right? The other thing I've seen is that there is one set of officers who say, oh, I don't know what's happening, so much of money, I will play safe, I will put it in FDs. So they will lose money because of inflation, the FD will lose its value. The other extreme is, there are people say, that coursemate of mine, he was saying he has 5 crores. I have only 2 crores. मैंने क्या कर दिया, कुछ गड़बड़ हो गई है. So I have to make up for it. And when they get that money, they will say, let me put it in this investment. I will do futures. I will do options trading, and they will lose it. So there is this, extremes that are there. Risky behavior and absolutely safe behavior. Both are detrimental to the financial health of a person. And I'm trying to bridge that gap and get people to come in. And obviously, there is a business model around it. I am not saying that, the commission model is bad. It's a business model, right? It's a way of providing certain services to people who need it. I have a different service and I'm providing it in a different way. And the service that I provide is highly regulated, right, by SEBI. I'm bound by a lot of regulations and rules, which makes my case that much stronger because I'm backed by the government of India.
You can't just get away with whatever you want to say, because if you see Instagram, it is full of advisors who keep using people who create these small reels, and they might use anybody's photograph and start giving tips. So it's not like that. So when you say you're a SEBI registered, that itself is a stamp of authentication, right? Do you see that? Is there awareness among armed forces personnel, especially Jawans, about their wealth, that they could park their money beyond just the regular ones, the FDs and real estate?
Very great question. And what I'm hearing is that Jawans are getting involved in things like borrowing money and doing futures trading, options, and margin trading and all of that. They invest in risky things like crypto, because the reason is that earlier, maybe 15, 20 years ago, the only contact that the Jawans had with finances was through their bank, or that one guy who would come to the unit that LIC ka wo policy karega. Today, it is through their phone. And there is no limit to what they can consume through their phone. And most of the time, it is this, things that are bad for them that they are consuming. Yeah, it's not just financial, but also things like, betting, then, betting on these IPL games and all that. So they do a lot of stuff like this. It's it's not good. But then the point is, what they can consume is what they are, acting on. Therefore, it's important that even as an organization, the armed forces must take efforts to educate people, and that is one of the initiatives. For example, retiring officers, there is a seminar where there is a financial advisor or a planner who gives a talk on how to plan your finances during retirement. That's something that I've also applied to, and I'm waiting for a response from them to confirm it so that I can go and do that. It's important because people get money, they don't know what to do with. I think what is also important is to do this while people are much earlier in their service, when they get commissioned, when they're doing the young officers course, when they go for JC. Uh, by the time they retire, it's too late to do much. Right? So
Very true.
therefore, there are opportunities, there are steps being taken, but yes, for our Jawans, that education is very, very important. Why Jawans, even officers who say, look, what kind of return can you give me? And I say, look, regulations do not permit me to state a number because it depends on market conditions and your profile and how much risk you can take and how much time frame, all of that. But people say, no, yaar, mere ko 25% return chahiye. So the world doesn't work like that.
People asking, people in the uniform asking, what return can I give, which you as a civil registered, or the people who are genuinely into it, is not those scamsters. You can't give a number, and that is where, that is why people like you and a company like you are needed, who will give them the right advice without making any false promises. So what's the future for your company, 360-degree wealth advisory?
So the future for my company is this, right? One is that I want to focus on 40-year-old plus age groups because they have that 20-year timeline to save and build their corpus in their wealth. That is one. But then once that is at a stable state, I want to go to the 20-year-olds because I feel that while we may still be aware and try to do something about our finances, our kids who are starting to work, they're 22, 23-year-olds, they're starting to work. They are bombarded with how they can spend money. iPhone le lo, buy now, pay later, or go on a holiday, or take a loan and go on a holiday and stuff like that. But is there anyone providing them financial advice? Nobody. So I want to go and be in that space where you start very young. The second thing is, see, now that I've done about 1 year, I realize that running a business and scaling a business is about how much you can invest in it. It's not just about money. It is about time, what kind of technology you use, what kind of people you hire. And I will give you an example. Till about 2 months ago, I was doing everything manually. That means I make a plan and then I say, okay, my clients I'll onboard them onto one of these platforms like Grow or Zerodha and say, oh, wahan pe kariye, and every 3 months I will review it. But now very recently I've gone on procured a platform for myself. It's available in the market. So B2B, they'll give it to you and all your clients are onboarded. The moment I've done it, I realized that now I can scale it up 3x just by making this change. Otherwise, you keep thinking, oh, I have to spend money on this platform. It's an ongoing, it's a variable cost, and so I should not do it, and I'm not confident. But the moment I did that, I realized my scope has changed totally. So therefore, my advice to people who are, trying to start these kind of entrepreneurship is that cost is not a negative. Spending on something to build your business is not a negative. You have to spend on the right things, whether it is technology, people, or building your own processes. it you must invest in your business, and then it will take some time to grow, but it will surely grow as long as you've done it right.
Viewers, we are in conversation with Colonel Cherian, who's from securing borders to now he's into securing financials of veterans. Finally, before I let you go, My Startup TV, we are a media house for entrepreneurs like you. We use all of our five verticals: web television, news portal, web TV, OTT, and digital magazine to showcase entrepreneurs and startups, which the mainstream media does not. What do you think about the kind of work we are doing?
Yesterday or I think day before when we connected and I said, I'm interested in coming on your show. I just went through your videos and your, the work that you've done. I think it is excellent because there is a lot of noise out there in the market. Everything is very high profile. Only people who get a lot of funding will come on these kind of shows. They will go on Shark Tank and, whether end of the day they are profitable or not, they'll go on Shark Tank. But I think you're doing great service because uh, one is that it is showcasing people like us, but the other thing is it's also helping others to get motivated to start their journey. Because I think there is a lot of fear or that lack of confidence. में पता नहीं मैं कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं कर पाऊंगा. And I think one of the, at least for armed forces officers, is what I realized was that when I started this, एक तारीख को salary नहीं आई. So, and you're for 29 years or 30 years, you're used to getting a salary on the first, right? And suddenly there is no salary. So you see, it takes some time to get used to it. And then you slowly realize that no, if I do the right things, I will be able to get to where I was earlier. And this realization, I think you are bringing into the world by letting people know that look, ये सब होता है, it is normal. You have to go through it, and then you will reach that stage where you have a good business that is helping people.
Thank you for that, Colonel Charian. Viewers, if you want to hear such interesting conversation, do join My Startup TV for the daily live show, which is Thought Leader Show and Founder Talk Show. Colonel Charian, thank you very much for joining, and we hope to see you again on some of our panel talks and subsequent shows.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Hello, welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Majorsunilshetty. We've been hearing about AI in pretty much every field of life. In every sector, every segment, every industry is now either talking about AI or in the process of integrating AI. Now, the same thing is happening with video production. Today, I have with me on Founder Talk Show live with me Akshay Jain, who is the founder of Studio VT, a startup that is integrating AI or using AI to make video production easier. So let us understand what Studio Media does and what Akshay's journey has been as a founder. Akshay, welcome to Founder Talk Show.
Yeah, thanks, Sunir, for welcoming me and introducing me on your show. And yeah, it would be a great pleasure to tell me about my journey of my entrepreneurship and how we started and how we began our journey. So while I was at IIT Roorkee, I have this cinematic section, okay, where we used to create short stories and some songs and all, and that's where that artistic look comes into my play. Okay, so amid COVID-19, there is a boom of the video conferencing happened, Zoom and all that. People got locked out and all. And then we found out that, there is one more important asset that people are not focusing on, and that is how video quality can be improved, how the way we tell the story can be improved. Okay, so at that point of time, since I've been having a great IT experience, I've been also studied AI course Stanford University. So then I realized that there is something that can be done and that can completely revamped. Okay, but the story didn't stop there. Okay, with the advent of AI, with the advent of we see Ghibli image to video and all, we conceptualized that we wanted to make a film using AI. Okay, completely making a film using AI is something that we have a vision and believe on it, and currently we are working on it, and we have around 80 to 90% of the process we have automate in this section. So I'll tell you about a bit more, but yeah, that's a small journey about it.
Well, actually, you know what? When you talk about AI and film production, you caught my attention. You know, मतलब मैं चाहता हूँ कि उस शो से बाहर निकलूं और आपसे बात करूं कि क्या कर रहे हो और किस तरह से हम आपके साथ में वर्क कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि एज अ प्रोडक्शन कंपनी, एज अ टीवी कंपनी, we are also integrating a lot of technology, new technology, especially AI, into our processes. So हाँ,
Mhm.
वो एक रहता है कि वही टेक्नोलॉजी को देखो किस तरह से हम उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं इन आवर डे टू डे वर्क. So, somebody, who's in IIT, and generally hota ye hai ki the moment you talk about IIT, people are, look chasing, those big packages, big salaries, going abroad. What made you choose, entrepreneurship, and that to getting into the production side of it?
It's not like I get into it. Okay, it's something that problem identification is one aspect that get my attention. Okay, so I like stories. Okay, and in the IT, there's one famous tool like Jira. Okay, so when I have one plot of the movie in my mind, uh, I wanted to architect that story. Okay, so in research and identification of tools and software, how can I start the journey, how can I do screenwriting, how can I how things will create a big massive movie, okay, blockbuster movie that we see of around Bahubali and making 2000 plus crores and all. I have this idea that how can I tell my story to the masses. Okay, so in a process of identifying, I got to learn about that this whole industry is unorganized. Okay, there are small tool for small work. People are still dependent on Microsoft Excel, on pen and paper. Okay, so that's where when I talk to lot many people, I heard their pain and all, and then I realized ki let's why not to put my passion into making something creative software. So that's how I formulate a small team, and now we have been working on building that next level things.
So that's interesting that you found a pain point and you start working on it. But then
Yeah.
we also, through this program, what we try to do is, for the benefit of our viewers, especially student entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and early stage entrepreneurs, we want to take the lessons of of entrepreneurs like you and share it with them so they can that can help them in their journey. So मैं जानना चाहूंगा, one of the major things that we time and again hear in our conversation with founders in India, especially, is parents' pressure, right? कि parents कहते हैं job ले लो, right? And आपके लिए, especially getting into IIT, was not easy. You got in, and I'm sure
Yeah.
there must have been pressure from your parents, right? कि अब आप IIT में चले गए हो, तो get a good job in a MNC company or go abroad. So was there pressure like that on you? Instead
So
of doing entrepreneurship, get into,
I
and
I
how did you
didn't.
overcome?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. It's a very great question. Parents have an anxiety, okay, and for that reason, because that market and putting that much effort into getting into IIT, and then not having getting a job is a kind of pressure that many of the people have. Okay, I did a different approach. Okay, so first and foremost, I started working. Okay, I worked in Dansu, Paytm, okay, in the space, and I understand how a scalable solution build on top of it. Okay, while I am working with Paytm and Dansu, I have this craving of doing something that grab the attention of the big masses, and that's where on a parallel line of doing the more hustle, working on weekend on the side project, we started as a a small project. What you won't believe, most of the users, around 50-60% of the user from USA, Europe, and India, they start reaching out, and that grabs our attention. Okay, our proof of concept is working. लोग हमें बहुत पसंद कर रहे हैं, उन्हें चाहिए कि हाँ एक ऐसा सॉफ्टवेयर बने जो उनका काम, सिर दर्द और बहुत सारी चीजें कम कर दे. ओके, so that's where we started. We scaled to around 10,000 users. So हमने realize किया कि हाँ, now is the time. We also start getting attention from big companies. Also in fact IIM काशीपुर है, उनने हम लोग को back किया. Okay, so lots of many things start getting from the second phase of it. That's where we started completely doing full time. Okay, so that's like side hustling, proof of concept, and then getting into the road is the my approach. Everyone have a different approach of doing the entrepreneurship, and I won't say कि ये वाली अप्रोच गलत है या ये वाली सही है. जो वर्कआउट करे, जो आपको प्रॉब्लम समझ में आ रही है, एंड द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कि वो प्रॉब्लम बहुत सारे लोगों की सॉल्व हो रही हो आपके उस इट शुड बी स्केलेबल, इट हैव अ बिग टैम सैम सोम. सो अगर वो सब चीजें हैं तो आई वुड से कि हाँ, that's less risky approach, I would say.
What you said is right, कि अगर risk कम है और scalable है, and you see there's a genuine pain point, so as an entrepreneur it makes sense, as a entrepreneur, yeah, student entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, it makes sense to jump in. Now when you see, one is to get in, right? दूसरा होता है कि जैसे
Yeah.
अगर आप स्टूडेंट हो वो टाइम में, at that point how do you manage, what are the challenges as a student to balance between being a student where you have a very tight schedule, exams, projects, assignments, internship, and doing entrepreneurship along with it? How do you balance that? If you could share your experience for the benefit of other students out there who want to be entrepreneurs.
या सो मैं आपको पहले एक चीज बोलना चाहूंगा कि हमें एज ए इनोवेशन करना पड़ेगा, हमें क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, हमारा विजन बड़ा होना चाहिए. सो गेटिंग डायरेक्टली इनटू द फील्ड is the burning of your effort, is a burning of your money, and there are many things. Okay, तो मेरा मानना ये है कि rather than doing it, find a mentor who have an experience. Okay, they want people who can help them, okay, with their full enthusiasm. Okay, uh, full productivity. एंड दैट्स वेयर आपको उनसे बहुत कुछ चीजें सीखने मिल जाती है. ठीक है, आपको एक करंट सिस्टम पता चल जाता है कि अभी जो क्वालिटी लेवल है, अभी जो कस्टमर की नीड है वो यहाँ तक है. ठीक है, जब तक वो डेल्टा ज्यादा डिफ्रेंसिएशन नहीं कर रहे हैं ना, पीपल वांट स्विच फ्रॉम द प्रोडक्ट दैट दे आर यूजिंग टू द न्यू प्रोडक्ट. तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका है कि फाइंडिंग अ राइट मेंटर. अगर आपको लाइफ में अर्ली मिल जाते हैं मेंटर वो सब, ठीक है, जो गाइड करने के लिए तैयार हैं, देन आई वुड से यू कैन हैव यू नो I would say you are lucky. Those who get into the field and those who are usually successful is because of good mentors. Okay. दूसरा तरीका है कि इंटर्नशिप करें. ठीक है, कंपनी में जाएं रेदर देन बीन डूइंग द कॉलेज डिग्री, गेटिंग द नंबर. उससे आपको फील्ड का पता चलता है, उससे आपको कस्टमर का पता चलता है, उससे आपको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का पता चलता है. मैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ जहाँ पे 50,000 यूजर्स हैं, एम्प्लॉयज हैं, सॉरी, या 1 लाख है. मैं वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की बात कर रहा हूँ जो स्टार्टअप है, जो 4-5 लोगों की टीम है, 10 लोगों की टीम है. आपको पूरा का पूरा एक वाइड व्यू मिलता है. वहां पे आप काम करिए 2 महीने, मान लो आपने वहां ऑफिस जाके कर लिया, फिर वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर लिया. ठीक है, तो वो चीज है ना, आपको एक बहुत बड़ा विजन देती है. सो दैट्स आई वुड से इज अ मोर एप्ट अप्रोच. And then if you have gained some knowledge of the market and those things, then you enter into the entrepreneurship.
बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने कि व्हेन यू गो टू अ स्मॉल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जैसे हमारा खुद की कंपनी है, हमारा कोई बड़ा बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हम भी खुद स्टार्टअप हैं, मीडिया स्टार्टअप हैं. तो इसमें होता क्या है कि व्हेन समबडी कम्स एंड डज द इंटर्नशिप हियर, तो उसको एक 360 डिग्री व्यू मिलता है। साथ ही साथ में अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट में काम करने का, अलग अलग चीज में काम करने का, सीखने का मौका मिलता है। हैंड्स ऑन, ये नहीं कि मतलब किसी के अंडर आप कर रहे हो, इधर आप डायरेक्टली काम करते हो। तो आई आई फुली एग्री विद यू। मैं ये जानना चाह रहा था कि जैसे एज अ स्टूडेंट ये कितना मुश्किल होता है कि आपको टाइम मैनेजमेंट करना, कि आप एक तरफ अपना बिजनेस चला रहे हो और एक तरफ में यू आर ऑल्सो रनिंग योर you're doing your, you have to meet all the requirements of the course as well as do the entrepreneurship। वो टाइम मैनेजमेंट कितना क्रिटिकल होता है, कैसे करते हैं उस चीज को?
आई वुड से एवरीवन हैव 24 आवर्स, ठीक है। कोई के पास ऐसा नहीं है कि ज्यादा समय है, कोई के पास पास कम समय है, ठीक है। सो एक जस्टिफिकेशन तो ये है कि पीपल डिडंट गॉड डिडंट गिव अ बायसनेस कि इसको 48 आवर्स दे दिया, इसको 24 आवर्स दे दिया। सो दैट्स गुड, ओके। सेकंड थिंग इज लाइक यू हैव टू थिंक कि डज इट एड द वैल्यू टू मी। अगर आप कुछ कोर्स भी पढ़ रहे हैं तो वो उसका एप्लीकेशन क्या है, ठीक है। अगर हम इन दोनों को अलग अलग समझेंगे तो ये हमें बड़ी चीजें दिखेंगी, बट इफ वी यूनिफाई एंड फाइंड कि यहाँ पे कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट हो सकता है क्या, जो मेरा एजुकेशन है उसी के अराउंड में मैं अगर वर्क करूंगा तो मेरा एजुकेशन का भी इम्प्रूव होगा एंड प्लस मेरा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप भी जर्नी होगा। ये 80-90% ऑफ द टाइम सिमिलर नहीं होता है, ठीक है, क्योंकि हमारा एजुकेशन कभी कभी प्रैक्टिकल नहीं होता है, ठीक है। सो दैट शुड बी यू शुड बी स्मार्ट इनफ कि यार ये चीजें नहीं है हमारी, ये एक दिन रात को एक दिन पढ़ने की है, मैं एग्जाम दे के पास हो जाऊंगा। जो प्रैक्टिकल वाली चीजें हैं उस पर ज्यादा टाइम देना चाहिए, बिकॉज इट एड अ वैल्यू। और दूसरी चीज ये है कि एक टीम एंड लीडरशिप स्किल वहां पे आप डेवलप कर सकते हो। यू क्रिएट अ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल, पैशनेट पीपल, ओके, दोज हु फॉलो द सेम विजन के यार मुझे ये चीजें करना है, ठीक है। एंड व्हेन यू हैव अ टीम, देन आप कई चीजें एक साथ मैनेज कर सकते हो। आपका जो क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन होता है, क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन व्हाट आई वुड वांट टू से, कि आपके पास कुछ स्किल है, मेरे पास कुछ स्किल है, हम दोनों जब मिले सो वी फिगर आउट कि अच्छा इसको और बेहतर तरीके से कैसे कर सकते हैं। तो एक छोटी सी टीम या सेक्शन ज्वाइन करके, कुछ फंड अलोकेट करके, स्विचिंग ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ टाइम इंस्टा एंड दोस थिंग्स टेक्स आवर टाइम। तो वैसे करके वी गेट एन एम्पल अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम वेयर वी कैन वर्क ऑन बिल्डिंग समथिंग गुड।
तो आपने बहुत सही बात बताया कि जिसमें टीम बिल्ड करना। तो ये एक जो इसके बारे में अगर आपको बताया कि इन योर टीम कि आपके को फाउंडर्स हैं और आधे योर कॉलेज में, स्कूल में, या आपके साथ में आईआईटी से हैं, और कैसे आपने उनको ऑनबोर्ड किया, क्या क्या मतलब क्या थॉट प्रोसेस था, किधर आप लोगों की सोच विचार मिली जिससे कि आप लोग एक जर्नी पे आ पाए?
ओके, सो बेसिकली फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट कि देयर इज एन यंग यान थ्योरी, ठीक है, जिसमें आई वुड से कि आधी स्किल आपके पास है, ठीक है, उस चीज को सक्सेसफुल करने के लिए 50% ऑफ द स्किल आई हैव टू मेक इट सक्सेसफुल, ओके। सो दिस यंग यांग कॉन्सेप्ट इज वेरी गुड, ओके। लॉट ऑफ टाइम पीपल थिंक कि मेरे पास जो स्किल है वही सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ स्किल का बंदा मैं ढूंढूं, एंड उससे एक पूरा का पूरा सर्किल कंप्लीट नहीं हो पाता है, ठीक है। एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज पैशन टू द प्रोजेक्ट, ओके, और द प्रोडक्ट, लाइक how much the skin in the game you have, okay. Let's say this skin in the game is a very good concept, okay, that I wanted to tell, and that's where you can find and figure out which people you have to buy in the organization. So अगर मुझे लॉस हो रहा है, ठीक है, मेरी कंपनी को लॉस हो रहा है, तो उससे मुझे कितना ज्यादा लॉस होगा, ठीक है। फॉर इंस्टेंस लेट टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ पायलट एंड अ बैंक कंसल्टेंट, ओके। सो अगर बैंक people are jealous of pilot of having this ambient and lavish life and all, but अगर पायलट कोई गलती करता है तो पायलट भी मरेगा, ठीक है, और प्लेन क्रैश होगा, ठीक है। सो ही हैज अ
सारा
लॉस
स्किन इन
ऑफ
गेम है, द होल स्किन, बॉडी इज इन द गेम, नॉट जस्ट
या इट्स इज बॉडी इन द गेम, ओके। एंड दूसरी तरफ हम अगर बैंक कंसल्टेंट देखें, ठीक है, जिसने कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को कंसल्ट किया या इंश्योरेंस को किया या कुछ किया, ठीक है, तो उसमें उसका कितना गेम है। अगर सामने वाले की कोई डेथ होती है, ठीक है, और कुछ होता है, तो उसकी जॉब चली जाएगी क्या? नहीं होगा कुछ, ठीक है। ज्यादा से ज्यादा उसको एक लेटर आ जाएगा, या फिर वो दूसरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ज्वाइन कर लेगा विद इन 1 to 2 years, जब तक उस चीज का प्रोसेस होगा। तो उसमें उसका स्किन नहीं है, उसमें उसका लॉस नहीं है अगर सामने वाले का लॉस हो रहा है। सो दैट्स अ गुड वे टू फिगर आउट कि हम अगर टीम बिल्ड कर रहे हैं तो सामने वाला, अगर गेम हम हारे तो सामने वाला क्या हारेगा, ठीक है, या जीते तो क्या जीतेंगे हम। तो दैट्स सेकंड थिंग. So, these are the couple of things, that you need to take a priority while, having right mindset of people.
So how did you go about onboarding your team
Yeah,
or your co-founders? If you can talk
yeah.
about a bit about
So,
them.
so it's we been connecting with 2 to 3 months daily. Okay, so that's where we get to know कि commitment है कि नहीं है, ठीक है. If a person have a commitment, then at least within 15-20 days they will go run away. Okay, without money, are they able to work or not? Okay, so उससे भी चीजें समझ में आती है. And then they are having a skill set, okay, that they have the star level skill set that take me there. So these are the, there is a one very good star diagram, okay, where you have to choose between loyalty and the skill. Okay, so if you have high star on the skill set but low loyalty, then also things doesn't work out. So you have to do the trade off between those things. And you get to know the vibes when you keep on connecting and understanding that whether he is for what. So
Yeah.
once the core team is built, then it's bit easier to find the next set of employee. Like you hire for an internship, you take people from 1 or 1.5 year of experience, and then within 1 or 2 months, if they get gel, then we keep on scaling. So that's scaling up the organization comes. Yeah.
So viewers, that is Akshay Jain, founder of Studio Vita. We're talking to him. We've been talking to him, and we were trying to understand what was his journey as an entrepreneur. How did he go about, being a student? He started his entrepreneurship journey, and then, how did he balance out between, his studies at IIT and launching his own startup, and what led to, or how did the idea itself come about? So now let's understand in the second part segment as to about his business itself, about his startup, what Studio Vita does, what is it into. So Akshay, let's understand what Studio Vita is all about. क्योंकि हम आपका रिसर्च कर रहे थे, हमने देखा कि you use AI to for video production in your as a business. That's what you do. You provide use AI as a solution for content creators. AI आज की तारीख में हम हर जगह AI सुनते हैं. तो थोड़ा व्यूअर्स के लिए इसको आसान तरीके से बताया करते क्या हैं?
मैं पहले एक चीज बोलूंगा कि वीडियो भी एक प्रोडक्ट है. द वे वी कंज्यूम अदर प्रोडक्ट, वीडियो भी एक प्रोडक्ट है जो हम कंज्यूम करते हैं. एंड इट्स एन इंटेंजिबल प्रोडक्ट जिसको हम टच तो नहीं कर सकते बट वी फील. हर एक प्रोडक्ट की जो जर्नी है ना, वो 5 स्टेजेस में डिफाइन होती है, ठीक है. अगर आप एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना चाहते हैं तो आपके पास एक प्रोडक्ट होगा जिसको आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे. तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज द लास्ट जर्नी. लेकिन उसके पहले की जो जर्नी होती है ना, वो ऑलमोस्ट सेम होती है. वन इज द कॉन्सेप्ट क्रिएशन. इन द वीडियो लैंग्वेज वी कॉल इट फिल्म स्क्रिप्ट राइटिंग, ठीक है. तो फिल्म की स्क्रिप्ट लिखना, वीडियो की स्क्रिप्ट लिखना, उसको कॉन्सेप्चुअलाइजेशन बोलते हैं, ठीक है. एंड देन सेकेंड थिंग कम्स इज द प्री प्रोडक्शन. ओके, in simple language we call is a pre-planning stage. Okay, if we were building any other product, like let's say we are building a, a JBL speaker, okay, earpod. Okay, if we are building, so we have to pre-plan कि क्या क्या चीजें लगेंगी, क्या क्या रॉ मटेरियल लगेगा, ठीक है. हियर द डायरेक्टर फिगर आउट कि कौन सा कास्ट लेना है, कौन से हीरो को साइन करना है, वेदर शाहरुख विल वर्क और सलमान विल वर्क. ओके, इसमें कितना बजट आएगा, ठीक है. हर एक छोटी बड़ी चीज के कॉस्ट्यूम क्या रहेगा इसमें, ठीक है. कौन क्या क्या कौन कौन से दिन पे शूटिंग होनी है, कश्मीर की शूटिंग है या कन्याकुमारी की है, ठीक है, तो एवरीथिंग कम्स इनटू प्री प्लानिंग, ठीक है। एंड देन द थर्ड स्टेप कम्स इज अ प्रोडक्शन. So this is where if we wanted to build this product, we have to, put it into the factory. Okay. So in the video also, producer and directors generally go for a shooting. Okay. And then the post production activity comes where, lot many people are aware about is the, packaging comes. ओके, जहां पे आप एडिटर को यूज करते हो, अडोबी एडिटर एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स। ओके, हम लोगों ने जो चालू किया है ना, वो ऐसा है कि कॉन्सेप्चुअलाइजेशन से डायरेक्टली हमारा जो विजन है वो वीडियो को आउटपुट करना, ठीक है, लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट। एंड वी हैव कंप्लीटली ऑटोमेटेड द स्क्रिप्ट राइटिंग प्लस द प्री प्रोडक्शन वर्क। तो अभी पता चल जाएगा कि अगर एक्टर ए है, सेट ए है, तो हमारा मूवी का जो स्टोरी बोर्ड है, ठीक है, अ सीरीज ऑफ इमेज, हाउ वुड इट लुक लाइक। तो वो सब चीजें हैं जो हम लोगों ने ऑटोमेट कर दी है। आने वाले टाइम में हम लोग एक फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट मूवी का बना पाएंगे, जिससे बहुत सारा मनी सेव हो पाएगा, क्योंकि इफ आई शो यू द मूवी बिफोर आई डू द प्रोडक्शन, देन यू कैन टेल कि ये मूवी सक्सेसफुल होगी कि नहीं होगी, ठीक है। एंड देन दे प्रोड्यूसर्स एंड डायरेक्टर कैन गेट द फाइनेंस एंड ऑल, एंड व्हेन दे आर एवरीवन इज ऑन हैप्पी एंड ऑन द सेट, then they start shooting the real film. So this is where our whole storyvity is innovating. I think आपको इजी में समझ में आ गया होगा, आई थिंक व्यूअर्स को।
तो अगर अगर मैंने इस सही समझा कि आप ये कह रहे हैं कि आप लोगों का जो सोल्यूशन होगा या प्लेटफॉर्म होगा, उसको इस्तेमाल करते हुए कोई भी एक फिल्म
हाँ
मेकर, चाहे वो शॉर्ट फिल्म मेकर हो या फीचर फिल्म मेकर हो, फुल लेंथ फिल्म मेकर हो, वो एआई टूल के माध्यम से उन्हें पता चल जाएगा कि कितना बजट है, किसको इसमें लेना है, कौन लीड एक्टर्स हो सकते हैं। सो द
हाँ
होल जो प्री प्रोडक्शन का पूरा जो काम होता है, उसको आप स्केल डाउन कर देते हो, उसको कम समय में हो जाता है और आपको एग्जैक्ट बजटिंग मिल जाती है। दैट्स व्हाट द होल आइडिया
yeah
इज,
yeah
राइट?
that's all whole idea. I can pretty much show our platform. Okay, so to have a comprehensive view. Okay, just 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So that I can present it and then you'll understand. So yeah.
Yeah, let's
uh,
just quickly go through that
yeah
thing.
yeah,
We
quickly
have about
I'll
five
go
minutes.
through it. Let
Yeah,
me know once it's visible. Okay, so
yeah,
can you able to see my screen? Okay,
yes,
hello. Yeah,
yeah. We are
so
able
if
to see
we
a screen. Yes.
yeah, so if we go to the Spider-Man project, okay, so here
Mm-hmm.
there is a Spider-Man movie scenes look like. Okay,
Okay.
and if they wanted to convert it into and translate into Hindi or any other language, they have to do the dialogue correction. Then script writer can completely do it. Then from here the whole pre-production happened. So let's say if I go to the uh, director angle. Okay, so what director will do, let's say these are the films are made up of scenes basically. So on the
Mm.
left side, these are the scenes, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, and scenes are made up of shots. So let's say if I go to any scene, okay, and I wanted to know कि इसमें क्या क्या चीजें लगेंगी इसको शूटिंग करने के टाइम पे। सो नाउ इट विल
Mm-hmm.
टेल कि वी रिक्वायर मास्क, वी रिक्वायर दीज मैनी पीपल, ओके, ग्रीनरी, each and everything it will tell that these are the things that we require during shooting. Okay, so AI will detect and AI will tell कि आपको ये एलिमेंट लगेंगे। एंड देन व्हेन वी गो टू द बजट, देन वी आल्सो गेट टू नो कि कितना कितना कॉस्ट लगेगा इस सीन को शूट करने का। ओके,
तो
नाउ
बेसिकली
कमिंग
आप कह
ऑन।
रहे हैं कि आप लोगों का
हाँ
जो
हाँ
टूल है, इसको इस्तेमाल करके, सो इसमें एक चीज जो आपने कहा बिल्कुल सही है। इसमें एक चीज सिर्फ ये रह जाता फर्क, जो कि मुझे एक चैलेंज भी लगता है, क्योंकि फिल्म मेकिंग एक डायनेमिक, कोई भी शॉर्ट फिल्म हो या फीचर फिल्म हो,
हाँ
एक
हाँ
डायनेमिक चीज है, right? जिसमें कि कुछ ना कुछ बदलता रहता है। इट्स नॉट लाइक स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन कि भाई आपने यही 4 स्टेप लेने हैं। तो उसको आप कैसे इसमें मतलब किस तरह से आप करोगे?
हाँ, तो यहाँ पे जैसे भी हम जो भी चीजें यहाँ पे टैग करते हैं, आप हमारे यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं राइट साइड में, यहाँ पे चीजें आ जाती हैं, ठीक है, all those element that we have tagged. And then when we go to the department section, okay, here we can manage each and everything, like we can see those actors things. Okay, if we feel like there should be only 4 set, okay, or location, then we will define those location in the filming location. Let's say if I wanted to shoot into Delhi metro station, okay, then we will define those location, okay, and it will take only those location, okay. So these things will be covered dynamically also, or if they wanted to work on with the AI also, then it can work on the AI aspect also.
बहुत बढ़िया. So
Coming,
Akshay,
हाँ,
because we are running out of time, so
yeah,
what I would like to understand from you is this will be what subscription model as
yeah,
a service
this is a,
या जी.
yeah, this is a subscription model. Also, you can create a storyboard also, these images, okay, where it will run and create a PPT for it. Let me stop sharing my screen, okay.
So apart from this, what else are you working on? आप लोग और क्या चीज आप लोग कर रहे हो? एक तो ये समझ में आ गया स्क्रिप्ट बनाना और प्री प्रोडक्शन काम पूरा
Yeah,
करना, इसके अलावा कुछ और आप लोग कर रहे हो
हाँ,
एज अ
तो
स्टार्टअप?
स्क्रिप्ट से पूरा का पूरा
क्योंकि
इमेज जनरेट हो जाता.
पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन का एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है. जितना
हाँ,
जितना चैलेंज, ये हमारा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है कि जितना चैलेंज हम अगर मान लीजिए आपको एक्स इज द चैलेंज प्री प्रोडक्शन में, तो उसका मेनी टाइम्स इज पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन, क्योंकि आपको वीडियो एडिट करना है, तो उसमें भी कुछ काम कर रहे हो आप लोग की, बिकॉज टुडे देयर आर लॉट ऑफ टूल्स फॉर एडिटिंग वीडियोस, बट आर यू आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन एनीथिंग इन पोस्ट
no,
प्रोडक्शन स्टेज?
we are not working on it. Our vision is to create a final final draft of the video. So let's say आपका जो इमेज हम लोग का जनरेट होता है एआई से, वो काफी कंसिस्टेंट रहता है कैरेक्टर से. आई हैव शोन यू अ स्मॉल ग्लिम्स ऑफ हाउ गुड इट जनरेट, ओके. एंड देन उसमें ऑडियो भी जनरेट हो जाता है, ओके, विद द हेल्प ऑफ एआई ऑडियो. एंड देन वो एक फाइनल आपको वीडियो बना देता है, ठीक है. सो दैट्स द फाइनल आउटकम. अभी हम लोग उसको पीपीटी के फॉर्म में निकालते हैं, पीडीएफ के फॉर्म में निकालते हैं, या फिर अनदर काइंड ऑफ फॉर्मेट वेयर पीपल कैन पिच इट टू प्रोड्यूसर. बट हाँ, कमिंग सून आवर होल विजन इज टू क्रिएट अ लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट वीडियो विद एआई, okay, starting from script writing, pre-production to post-production. Yeah.
So Akshay, thank you very much for joining us on My Startup TV. Viewers, if you want to hear more such stories, experience of entrepreneurs firsthand, from the horse's mouth, as they say, do join us every day at 4 p.m. for live My Startup TV Founder Talk Show. So Akshay, thank you very much for joining, or we look forward to hosting you again on our show sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me and having me on this show, and looking forward.
About the startup ecosystem, subscribe to my Startup TV.
Hello, welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Shetty. I'm back with another episode of Founder Talk Show. OTT has been the buzz, in the entertainment segment. When you look at entertainment, it is giving run for money to even the big screen, the silver screen as they call it. But then, at some point of time, OTT was only limited to the people, people who had money or had approach. I mean, can you reach out to Amazon? Can you reach out to Amazon Prime? You can't. So what's the solution for small time or small filmmakers or documentary makers or people with content? The other challenge is platforms like YouTube. They require you to reach certain subscriber base before you can monetize it. But how do you get around this? Well, the solution is in having your own OTT platform, having your own channel. Well, that's what we're going to discuss today as to how you can, as a content creator, have your own white label OTT platform, and who are the players who are helping you do it? To talk to me on this and throw some lights on this is Ankita Kia, who's also the founder, who's a serial entrepreneur, and she's the founder of Skara. Ankita, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me here. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Same here.
So, Ankita, before we get into understanding what Skara is all about, which is a plug and play, no code OTT platform, for the benefit of aspiring entrepreneurs out there, we would like to bring out your entrepreneurial journey. You're a serial entrepreneur. Even as we speak, you have got multiple startups that you're working with or businesses that you're working on. So let's start by understanding Ankita as a serial entrepreneur. What got you into entrepreneurship? Why didn't you decide to be a 9 to 5 kind of a person?
I have been an entrepreneur for 2 decades now, and I have been part of the founding team of businesses in education, exhibition, and design. Why did I become an entrepreneur? I actually have authority problems. So I like to do my own thing. I'm also a third generation entrepreneur. So I would say that entrepreneurship is in my blood.
So once it is in your blood, you will be drawn towards that, isn't it? Now, tell us about, when you got into entrepreneur, even for, serial entrepreneurs, even for people who are, third generation, fourth generation entrepreneurs with family in business. It's not as if you just walk into it and do it. I mean, we see this in every profession, right? Whether it is armed forces, whether it is cinema industry. We know a lot of people with the silver spoon failed, bombed at the box office. So it's not easy. Yes, you may get that little advantage to start off with, but eventually you have to make your own path. You have to do everything on your own. So let's talk about that part. Your own journey from once you decided to get into entrepreneurship, and how did that go about?
So entrepreneurship, as every entrepreneur would tell you, is a lonely journey. And there is no fixed paycheck coming to you at the end of the month. It's a journey full of uncertainties, a lot of naysayers at times if you're doing something new. And it's tough, especially if you, as an entrepreneur, you don't always have access to capital. And you make a lot of mistakes head on at the start of your journey, which also, I would say teething problems, but also cost you money and at times time as well. So, and juggling that with, as a woman, many other responsibilities that come into you is a tough thing. But I think resilience is a key factor, and support is another key factor. These days, in the past 20 years, there is a lot more access for entrepreneurs to capital, to mentorship, and so many resources led by different institutions of excellence, a lot of incubation programs, which help a lot, I think.
So, one is, as you said, as we
Discuss
discussed
that being an entrepreneur from a family of business may not be, it's definitely not given, like you will succeed. But it does come with some advantages. So what would you say, you benefited with being in a family that was into business?
I didn't benefit all that much because I come from a family of hoteliers, so traditional business people. So when I came back to Assam and started my entrepreneurial journey with exhibitions, education consulting, these at that time were not regular businesses, and people told me that you were never going to earn money. These are not kind of businesses where you open your shop and money starts flowing in. They require a high gestation time. But it took a lot of 2-3 tough years before we begin to see success. But see, every entrepreneur's journey starts with struggles, I think. And doing businesses where people told me that I will never make money probably helped me know myself better, or I would say, cultivate resilience into me. And I'm still doing it. A lot of people still tell me that building Skara from a tier 2 city is never going to work. So that's still on. My co-founder and I started my co-founder is Parag, and we started a design company in 2017, where we were doing a very boutique design agency and servicing clients all around the world. Again, there were a lot of naysayers in that, so I'm used to it. I think if people say it won't work, it might just work.
It doesn't work or it will not work, but then you keep doing it. Now, one is challenges outside. The other is to go against the grain of what family is doing. Like you come from a hotelier's background. How was that? How did you negotiate that, or how did you navigate the challenge at home? Probably they would have said, hey, if you want to do business, why not join the family business? We already built it over over 2 generations, so why not? So what were the challenges there, and how did you navigate that challenge?
So I was actually pretty lucky that way, because my family is a pretty do your own thing kind of one. I mean, they're pretty liberal, and they allowed us to study what they want, and our parents allowed us to do what they want. So yes, that was the easy thing, join the family business. But you also need to have some fire in your belly to do what you want to do. If there's a certain direction that you want your business to go, or there's a particular business that you want to do, a particular idea that you want to turn into profit, so to speak, you have to believe in that vision and you have to work towards it. Nothing is easy. I mean, so yes, there was no force from my family to do that or go the traditional way. And they were quite worried about me, I think, initially first 2 years. How am I going to manage? But they're proud of us. They're proud of what I've achieved.
Conversation with Ankita Sai Kia, and she's the founder of Skara, which is a plug and play OTT platform. So Ankita, that is one part, your own journey. And then, as you said, from a small town, how did that work? I mean, how does that work? What was the decision making that you decided not to go to the big cities like NCR, Bangalore, which is what draws, Hyderabad, because everybody talks about these places to be the place. Like once upon a time, if you had to become an actor, actress, you had to go to Mumbai, right? Today, to be a successful entrepreneur, you want to be either in Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, or in the NCR region. So what was that thing that told you, no, I'm going to be in here in my town and I'm going to do it from here?
Somebody who's trying to bring a OTT product or OTT platform out in the world, it helps immensely to be where your customers are, at least the initial early adopters are, which are in tier 1 cities. But we already started our business from Guwahati, and we were already, deeply entrenched in the business community here. And I think things first fell into place. I mean, there are usual challenges of small towns, challenges of human capital, challenges of mentorship, even challenges for sure of getting funding. So, a lot of, I would say, Northeast ecosystem supports more traditional kind of businesses, and it was difficult initially to be somebody who's doing something totally different. And I think that's a challenge even in India. Forget the Northeastern ecosystem, where access to capital and access to human talent is a countrywide challenge, particularly more so when you are from a tier 2 city. We were building Skara completely out of the ecosystem, and it just came into place I'm very proud to say that I work with a bunch of very smart and talented developers, designers, engineers, and who also share the vision of SCARA. I think SCARA or any company as such has to be about us more than about me. But everybody in the team has to share the same vision and the same zeal to make it successful. I think that's what that's what makes products successful, and that's what keeps successful teams motivated. So we started the journey from Guwahati, and as we go in our customer acquisition journey, probably we'll have to be more present elsewhere. But for now, we are here. But also, I would like to say that small towns also offer their own USPs, easier to connect to people. And more often than not, I can easily say that the startup ecosystem has helped me. They have tried their best to give me the help and access that I could want, which probably I would be very anonymous in a big startup ecosystem.
Nagaland and Sikkim, and the access to the who's who in the in the political hierarchy of the government becomes much easier if you're in a small town. And then it does come with with the downsides of, as you said, the capital and human resource, all of that. But then I think it's all, as an entrepreneur, you take a call based on what makes best sense for you. So you're also a serial entrepreneur, and this is your fourth venture, if I'm correct. So how did that journey help you, from one to another, and then the fourth one? And also, how do you manage time, juggling 4 different businesses?
All our businesses were born out of pain points. We started an exhibitions business in Northeast more than 20 years ago, because we found that there is no platform which connects institutions of excellence to the student and parent community. There was none. We started in education consulting business because there was, again, a lack of a platform which connected universities directly to students and giving clear, unvarnished information, because those days Northeast was full of a lot of middlemen which were congesting the market, so to speak. Then since all our ventures required a lot of design work, Parag, my co-founder, and I met, and we kind of thought, hey, this is something we should do together. And because both of us were interested in design. So we started a design company called Right Hemisphere. And we are kind of a boutique UI UX design company which services a lot of players outside. So, and SCARA was born out of this partnership between Parag and me. And we witnessed firsthand the struggles faced by some of our families and friends in scaling up, so to speak, fighting with the algorithms, trying to make content go viral. This is not easy for people. This is not easy for people who are, already doing so many other things. So, and we looked around and saw what else was out there. What are other solutions providing? We saw a lot of market gaps. We thought that we could fulfill with SCARA. So as to your question about, how am I managing all of them? So I feel that all our businesses, as I said before, cannot be about me. It has to be about everybody. It has to be everybody's company. The idea is for every team to be a mini stakeholder in each business and empower them and teach them to work freely, take decisions, and also feel that it's ours rather than it's mine. I think that is an important thing. And rest about, of course, there's professional growth and personal growth comes with being a mini stakeholder in your business. That's what I would say. Also, I believe that as an entrepreneur, if you're too focused on the minutiae of your business, you can never leave it to do other things because you're too embroiled in a minutia of a business. So hire good people, smart people, and give them some power so that you have some time left over to focus on any other interesting business idea that may come to you.
Have time for your personal life, isn't it? You're a trekking person. You also, do artwork. So could you talk about that part, that the artistic side of Ankita?
I probably recognize good design, but I am not a designer. So I would say I'm a connoisseur of art, but I can't paint. But beyond that, you were talking about trekking and all. Yeah, well, Himalayas has been my passion for the past 27 years. And it's an annual pilgrimage I take where I switch off from the world. And this is my time with nature. It has taught me a lot of things. Now mountains have taught me a lot of things about how unimportant we really are and how the things bigger than us.
Some part of my life during my army service in the northeast and closer to the mountains, I understand what he's saying. So viewers, we are in conversation with Ankita, who's the founder of Skara, a plug and play OTT platform. If you want to have your own OTT channel, Skara is the place to go to. Have your own OTT, launch it, and start get the world, let the world know what you're producing or your content. So Ankita, now coming to Skara, you said it was a pain point. Every time you launched a venture, it was based on pain point, and that is how Skara started. But then OTT is dominated by a couple of major brands. How do you go up against them?
So there are two things. If you ask me what is Skara, there are only two words that come to my mind: democracy and control. So for anybody, an individual content creator, a small and medium business organization. So if they want to start their own OTT from scratch, there's a huge monetary investment that's required. It can scale up from anything from as high as a minimum budget of 30 lakhs. There are a lot of other costs for the tech dependencies of such an application, and also time taken. So we want to remove all these barriers. So we launched Skara, which allows anyone to simply create an account and launch a video streaming website or an app. It can happen for as short time as 3 minutes. And it's entirely democratic. If you want to do it, you can. The price is not a barrier.
And
how do you control the content? Because you never know who's publishing the kind of content you don't want to be out there for the public. How do you manage that part? Or how do you scrutinize the content that's going on the platform?
We are compliant with the IT rules of 2020. And so we don't edit the content. The content belongs to the owner. The content belongs to the user. We don't edit it, we don't censor it, we don't strike it out. So, but unless there is a particular government demand to bring down the content freedom belongs to the user itself.
No, what I meant by that was
I'm not talking about censorship here, because there are a lot of content that should not go on public space, right? There also have been hue and cry against Amazon of the world when the content is not in sync with what the society believes in. So how do you keep track of that? Or is it the content creator is liable for whatever content they put? They're going to put it on their platform.
Skara provides the content infrastructure, majorsunil. So we are the tech partners. We provide the entire infrastructure. We provide the automation for them. The content essentially belongs to them. But going to the next part of your question, see, anybody who's using Skara is essentially operating on a closed loop, so to speak. Only their subscribers will have access to Skara. So if somebody is putting up comedy or news or media, which probably attracts only certain elements of society or certain niche of subscribers, so only they are subscribing to that channel. Only they can view that channel, not anyone else. So it's not entirely in the public domain where anybody can get the content that the content creator or the business is creating.
And you, as you said,
It's a plug and play, no code platform. So can a user or a company that wants to have their own platform restructure the design, make the look and feel? Can they be different to another channel out there?
Currently, Skara, we have different design themes that they can use based on what are the logo colors, etc. They can put the logos up, and it is completely branded to their demands. I mean, that's what Skara is all about. We focus a lot on branding control. So, for example, it could be a video channel as per their name. It's connected to their domain. So it's completely theirs. We are like Gmail. You don't notice us.
and
If you could talk about the pricing for the benefit of viewers and probably people who want to have their own OTT platform, how does the pricing work? Is it a subscription-based model? Every month you pay? Because what I understand is there is probably a setup fee, or in some cases no setup fee, and a fixed fee or a variable fee. How does that work?
Okay, so we are a subscription-based service. We operate on a monthly subscription. So we have a fixed platform fee and a variable subscription fee. Our main goal when we started Skara, as I said, was democratizing video streaming for everybody. So we wanted to also serve underserved markets, regional markets. So it was important for us to give people the option of starting something at lower investment where they can scale up as their business grows. Something like Skara, the lowest tier could be as cheap as a platform fee of 2,500 rupees with a variable fee of say 95 rupees. It will just scale as they grow, and we can do a custom pricing also for them. Two things about Skara is that we offer our users predictability in cost and in revenues. So we charge a flat subscription fee. We don't take a percentage of your revenues. So, and the cost is the only one transparent cost. We are bundle pricing for encoding, storage, and bandwidth. So it's one price. So there are no hidden charges. You don't get a shock when the bill comes. You know exactly what it's going to be. I think that was an important thing. An entrepreneur myself, I thought predictability of cost and pricing is an important element that Skara needs to offer, and we offered that.
I'm also assuming that
the security is taken care of with backed by the right kind of infrastructure, right?
No two people can access Skara from two different devices. You can't download videos, and as we grow, as our user bases grow, we can deal into more complexity of security. But as of now, we have a pretty robust system in place.
Create a content. The other is to put it on a platform like yours, like Skara. The last but not the least, and a very critical component is how do you grow your your viewership? How do you grow your how do you market it? Do you provide any support to your clients when it comes to marketing or growth?
We have just started in our public launch. We are simply operating as a technical infrastructure. So we are actually relevant for people who are already monetizing their videos, who already have a subscription base, and they are already earning money from the video. So Skara is a way to bring their loyal audiences to their own branded streaming channel. So as of now, this is the service that we offer. But as we grow and as our people demand, we might offer more in future. It's early to say truthfully, but we don't. Why not? Maybe.
So Ankita, as a message to entrepreneurs out there aspiring, a lot of our viewers are aspiring entrepreneurs in the age group of 18 to 24 that form the bulk of our viewer base or subscriber base. What message would you give it to them? If they are still on the fence, thinking to get into entrepreneurship, or people who already taken a jump and they're in their first 2 years of, because that's the most difficult part, isn't it? When you start, it looks great, and then after the first year you start realizing the reality hits you. So what's your message for them?
See, I think if you're still working 9 to 5 and you always wish that you would do something, or you always wish to create your own business in a particular stream, don't wait too long. It's not going to get easier later. So if you want to build on your dreams, go ahead and take the jump. But be prepared. The jump will bring its own challenges, uncertainty, self-doubt, problems of money, constantly juggling bottom lines, dealing with many other issues of people and all, resources. These are given. This is for everybody, right? But there are rewards too once you jump through the tough 2-3 years. Also, I would say be clear in your vision, but at times vision is also not clear. So go with it. Maybe in time you might need to make changes and not be too attached to your first vision, because it is the market that will decide who you are at times. But absolutely, if there's something you want to do it, especially if you're 18 to 24, no time like the present. Less encumbrances, more freedom, and young people are pretty self-confident these days, very resilient, I would say. They have this I can do it attitude. It's a great starting point for an entrepreneur.
So Ankita, we as a My Startup TV, we are a exclusive media house for startups and entrepreneurs. We are in our 6th year, and our platform was created for entrepreneurs like you, where they can showcase their work, talk extensively about their journey, and bring enablers onto the platform, because we live broadcast all the events, startup events. What are your thoughts about the kind of work we are doing?
Startups like yours, media startups like yours are very important, because it's important for, we are such a populous country. Every as we speak now, there are probably hundreds of entrepreneurs who are making the jump, so to speak. It's important for their stories to be heard. It's important for people to know what different things are happening across the country. It's inspiring. It gives people ideas, and it gives people a platform to even share and discuss what they're doing. So putting limelight on entrepreneurs doing different things from different parts of the country, and a means to tell their stories, is an important connect between the ecosystem and the entrepreneur.
Thank you for that.
Ankita,
Ankita.
viewers, we are in conversation with Ankita Saikia, who's the founder of Skara, a plug-and-play OTT platform. If you want to launch your own OTT platform, Skara is the place to be. Thank you for joining, and we hope you join us again. We do live broadcast of Founder Talk Show Monday to Saturday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Ankita, thank you very much for being on our show, and we hope to see you again on some of our panel discussions.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Hello, welcome to My Startup TV. I'm majorsunilshetty. We are live on Founder Talk Show. Today I have a very special guest who's all 19, or rather going to be turning 19. It always gives us immense pleasure to host young entrepreneurs who are building new products, new services, or even coming out with amazing ideas, thinking out of the box. I have today with me Archit Shakre, who's the founder of Open Computers, which is a company that is trying to rebuild a computer, or the experience of a computer from the scratch. So let's dive in and check with Archit as to what Open Computer is all about. Archit, welcome to the Founder Talk Show.
How are you? Good to be here.
Archit, before we start, I know we were having a conversation before this show. You recently returned back to India, and you're doing engineering, and you're still 18, and you're going to be 19 soon. Uh, let's start by understanding, Archit, who Archit is. What have you done, leading up to your entrepreneurship?
I've always kind of been into building stuff, whether it's like from a hardware. Like I always when I was younger, I used to have like an Arduino. I used to like tinker around with that. I used to have a Raspberry Pi. But then once COVID-19 hit, that was kind of like a very that's kind of where a lot of things changed. Where I had like all this free time and stuff, right? And we're locked in online class and stuff, right? So that was like the opportunity that I had to like truly just like make stuff, right? So and this was kind of like just stuff I personally like one of the first things I made actually was for online exams. So like how it kind of worked was we used to have during our online exams, we used to have like kind of this portal, right? And the thing about the portal was that you can't exit from this portal, and if you exited, it detects it tells the examiner that you've exited the portal, right? So then on a bet, what I did is I actually created an Chrome extension that was able to hack it, so I can actually open tabs and it wouldn't alert the examiner, right? So this was like something, just like so everything that I've kind of built was kind of from that thing that this is something that I want to use because it's something that's a necessity for me, right? So that's kind of where that journey started, right? And I always kept working on projects within that direction, which is something in the sense that what is something that I need, right? Like, and then the next thing from that was I worked on this torrent movie player. So like if you go on a lot of these like movie players and stuff online, a big problem with those movie players is one, there's too many ads and the user experience is very bad. So the second project I kind of worked on, it's called Flixer. So it's like a app that you can download, and it has like a really cool, like really good UX and UI, and no ads, nothing. So again, so everything that I've kind of built stems from that fact that this is something that I need, and if it always arose from that, right? Instead of like me trying to go find problems, is just problems from my own life, and that's kind of how open computer started, right? It's kind of like how can we rethink computing from first principles, right? And this entire journey started during like 2020, right? It was just like everything that I've been building is something that I personally experienced, and something, and if it's like if I've experienced it, right, as an average consumer, how many more people have experienced the same thing? So everything I've built is kind of towards that. So I've always kept building, even before like I officially had a company or anything. I always kept building stuff. I just love making stuff.
Viewers, we are here in conversation with Archit.
A young entrepreneur. He's just 18. He's returned to India very recently. He's working on his startup, which is called Open Computers. So, Archit, when you see yourself, do you think you're an innovator or an entrepreneur, or an innovator wrapped around with as an entrepreneur?
Is just like a buzzword. I think that I think that every innovator is an entrepreneur, but not every entrepreneur is an innovator, right? Because to be an innovator, you need to truly question the paradigms that we hold, right? And you have to like really think from first principles, right? So that's why every innovator is an entrepreneur, right? But not every entrepreneur can be an innovator, because there's a certain level of thinking and depth that you have to really go into to be an innovator.
So you're doing your
engineering here in India. You're in Bangalore, and you moved from Bay Area, the US. And what kind of mindset change or adaptation you had to do on a personal level, and also on an educational level, to be when you return back?
It's kind of like from a mindset point of view, my mindset has kind of been the same throughout, because I've kind of kept it like that. But I think one of the biggest changes was in terms of people. Right now, if you like really think about